We are live. Would have been super funny if that was a banned phrase and Vale accidentally banned themselves. They should really turn it into a hammer. I don't know why they haven't done it yet. That's too legit, unfortunately. I'm so sad. At one point, I had a set of dice for all the White Wolf games that came out. I had like the Werewolf dice, the Vampire dice, the Mage Awakening dice, the Changelings dice. Granted, they were all D10s, or just bags of D10s, because that's all the system used. But I think I gave a lot of them away to my friends at the time. It was a mistake. All right, you guys got your dice? Bill. You were looking very guilty there. I'm sorry. Oh. Hashtag Roombas are family too.
Especially when he leers over you and meows.
He is really cute. He's actually just slunk out to the living room, so I'm sure we'll see him back when Butler starts the whirring. Oh, and I have my Plague Doctor 6 feet back or 6 feet down shirt on. Jacques.
Nice. You have no idea how tempted I've been to do that meme where it's like dressed in medieval clothing and walk around with a wheelbarrow screaming, "Bring your dead out."
Probably a little insensitive to people who've actually lost family during all this. But shopping in a Plague Doctor outfit is different.
I think we all need to buy Roombas and then put either googly eyes or some kind of humanization on them.
Nice.
And then create the hashtag Roombas are family too. I think that shit would explode.
Could always give her the knife. Could always get the Michael Reeves version where they, whenever they crash into stuff, they shout expletives in a person's voice. That's my kind of shit.
It just instantly brings up the like, I made a robot that screams comic. Why? And it's just, oh.
Yeah,
or the guy who made the like knife wielding tentacle just flapping around into the box, and its big cousin, the ceiling fan Roomba that has knives attached to all the blades. You just put that in Alex's house. It's too slow to actually get him, but like, what other shit are you up to that you have that on hand?
I mean, he has to sleep eventually.
I'll let my guard down, and any of those contraptions will get me.
He'll just pull the like token white girl at the beginning of the horror movie that trips in the first chase scene.
Oh yeah, that's me.
And then instead of even getting stabbed like he's actually afraid, he just gets run over by it.
I think a Roomba with the Jason would be hilarious. Just every once in a while, you just hear this ominous sound in your house. Especially fearful at night.
Or even worse, the sonic drowning sound. Oh god. Just at random intervals during the day. I love those sounds that like are so prevalent somehow, like in a game that it gives you real world anxiety when you hear it randomly. Sonic drowning. The one for me that still gets me is the fucking cloaker sound from Payday 2. I hear that anywhere. I am terrified and like, okay, wait. I'm in real life. I'm not playing Payday. But god, that sounds fucking terrifying. So what you're saying is
all the guys sound good on stream.
So what you're saying is that one day we need to just play the cloaker sound and then just run and jump kick you in the chest.
With swords. With swords. Here, Devin will both show up in cloaker cosplay. You tackle him, and I'll bring the sword.
Oh god. Nightmare.
Just chase him through the fucking neighborhood.
Though, oh yeah, I'm actually working. So like this week, I've started the script on my next short film I'm directing, which is inspired by like the last conversation we had at tabletop, like at the end of the session, I think, or just in general. We were talking, and Devin brought up the idea of like a weird post-apocalypse mockumentary. And now I'm making it.
Oh god, here we go. Oh, you never showed us the cat throw one.
It's not like ready yet.
Okay.
Yeah, he keeps saying it's in draft, but I'll figure it out soon. If not, I'll just like have him send it to me, and I'll like do the finishing touches. But yeah, the entire thing just starts out like we're gonna go drive up a few places, find like whatever looks the most wastelandy in our area, and I've been told there's like 4 possible locations we have within 20 minutes. And then it's just Raider jumps out, the guy trying to do an interview, like threatens him a bit. Then it's just, you want to do an interview? Hard cut to him sitting down in a chair with a lav mic, like talking really nice.
You know, it was really tough. We had to eat my cat. And, you know, I don't think I ever really recovered from that. And I think I left a lot of my empathy behind. This has been really nice. Thank you.
I am figuring out how much of that I'm going to give this character, because so far, like, the reason he started raiding is because he needed a reason to get out of the house more. Also,
the pandemic and the zombie apocalypse hitting at the same time was really, really tough. I couldn't get into my doctor, ran out of depression medication. It's just been it's been a really tough time. But I hear that like sunlight's really good for you. Like they have those like lamps overseas and somewhere. So I figured, you know what? I'm gonna get out and raid.
We have that characterization. The other one is they follow someone called like the Fume Lord or the Gasoline God who bleeds gasoline, and just like I've never like seen him do it. Like no one's seen him do it, but like he has gasoline, so like I'm gonna like give him the benefit of the doubt.
Some funny tongue-in-cheek you could do as well as like, yeah, surprisingly all the raiders are surprisingly health conscientious. They all wear these masks all the time. No chance of cross-contamination or anything like that. I mean, I've never seen Jim's face. You just get this psycho-looking dude right there.
Who just heavy breathes into a mic. Later on, you cut into his interview, and he's just...
But we have we're like working on a bunch of different things for it. Like he has friends with like some gasoline cans. Let's see. I have like we have like a bunch of costume stuff we're putting together, and we're gonna somehow connect it to our previous films too, so it's all one universe.
You should also take a part just in a Walmart and be like, scavenging for food is hard in the post-apocalyptic. I mean, all this synthetic food here barely even counts. Most of it's not even made from real animals or plants. And just like zoom in on someone, like the trashiest person you can find. Just like it's taking a toll on everyone's health.
All I know that too is like the ending. It's just gonna end with like some very polite form of like, all right, now we're going to eat you, interviewer, and it's just him charging the camera to freeze frame.
Alex, I know what your perfect cameo could be for like all of your projects. You know the guy who like walked out the window. Or walked past the window.
I've
just
already
been him in everything.
I've already been talking to him, and like he's providing some costume bits, and he's like really down to play like an extra, like a raider. So I was gonna get his help. Same gas mask.
You should have the guy who is making a burger, just like in the Walmart, picking up burger supplies.
That is the main character.
Okay.
Then he should see some burger stuff and just start having a sudden panic attack.
He was gonna mention like something with burgers. Like we were gonna reference the cat toss one and the burger one because like one of my like I think he's gonna be my cinematographer or editor for this. He bought a bunch of like cat plushies and he has one that looks like Ripley. And we remembered we had a joke that just said "You're next" like on Ripley. So basically, it's gonna be like cat in a trap, and he's like, "Oh, I can make some burgers out of this one." Found a fun tutorial for that in the old world. And then let's like a small little bit for like the people in our class or like my friends who've seen it. Like,
what if I still have that on my Google Drive? Oh, fuck, internet.
Internet died. Damn it.
I like to imagine that the satellites are just perfectly fine and all the servers are fine. So like, it's otherwise like your perfect post-apocalyptic society, and then like you pull up maps on your phone and you can still get the GPS. Somebody's just like, there's like an old busted out police car, pins on maps, speed trap.
That's really funny. So anyway, vampires or Vitella.
God, hate them.
That's unfortunate because there's gonna be a lot of them.
Anastasia will remember this.
Yeah, well, Anastasia is already on Fidwith's shortlist. Fidwith will always remember. Wasn't even there to hear it.
And here he was considering combat with his brother between you and him. More one-on-one.
Fidwith versus both of you would be horrible.
Yeah,
Fidwith
you never
would
know.
die.
Or maybe he'll just pay you to throw his sister around a bit. Knock her down a few pegs.
He just sees Trey and is immediately like, I have to bully it. I have to do it right now. Alex, are you okay?
What do you see?
I'm a little scared to find out now.
We just started. Come on, man.
I was opening Pinterest to work on some of the character boards. That's the first thing I see.
Pinterest learned it got him with a cow.
It found you, Alex.
It knows.
Alright, well, I guess the stream's gotta see this now.
It's not funny. But like,
How do you suck so much?
I don't know. I just wanted to see cool Fallout art.
This is what got him. As we were starting, the cow has made a strange second coming.
It's not the trampoline one, though.
It's not the trampoline one. I
This
really
is son
like
of cow.
doubling impact text. I find it very funny.
Plus the face of that cow. Got an interesting pattern on his face.
Alright, I gotta
And now
fix
that'll live
my
on in our
Pinterest.
video series forever. That is your weakness. The
True.
cow.
I'm just trying to fix my Pinterest algorithm by adding cool Fallout art and demon art.
Followers are gonna see this meme and just suddenly start spamming you with just cow stuff.
If we got popular enough for me to be spammed with shit like that, kind of into it. For a bit, at
Increasingly
least.
deep fried cow beans.
It'd be pretty good.
All right. So, while Anasasia is having a nice day to themselves to contemplate all the hardships they're about to face with their family, and the fact that eventually Anasasia's older brother will be home. The infiltration group has gotten in and have successfully been recruited as, well, not recruited, but have applied for and gotten the job of being various house servants for House Amoros. You guys were then given a short, brief run over of things by Godfrey, who, besides saying, like, run now, never look back, he gave you some tips on the various House Amoros members and your various responsibilities. And then you guys were left to leave and collect yourselves for the upcoming day. So we pick up the story as you guys are leaving House Amoros after your successful job interview to battle plan, maybe, hopefully, what you guys would like to do and how you guys are going to approach trying to get various members of House Amoros on your side. If you need a refresher, there's a notepad with all the family members' names and small identifying features. Plus whatever you guys decide to throw in if you decide to upgrade your notes.
think I'm in the wrong Roll20.
It's grim or dark survival.
Oh no, I was in the right one.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how many wine bottles is Doc going to be consuming this time?
I plead the fifth. Alright, so that's why my notes aren't showing up.
Been a
They got
couple
dragged
weeks,
into the wrong
so
folder.
got some review.
Nope. Serena is not allowed near literally any of the vampires. They are all banned, blocked, reported. Sebastian's on his fucking own. Suffer. Enjoy the super awkward situation you're in now.
I will not.
I think that's bad. You're also under the scrutiny of Donovan somehow.
Woo.
As if Lilia wasn't bad enough.
Oh, fuck. Alright. That just sent me the cow meme I already posted to show to you. Fuck. There's so many. I mean, honestly, you two are in the better positions to win people over, if only because Doc's basically going to be doing the non-combat version of drawing aggro, just by virtue of being alive. He'll make his attempts, but he's also going to be busy swallowing his pride. Sebastian's in the unique position of being chosen as the personal butler for the interesting one. And then Serena, you're just gonna have to like darling it up without, you know, being eaten alive, literally.
Dang mosquitoes around this area. Crazy.
Because not allowed to get to the top of the house. Which means either you have to be a favorite enough that you get dragged up, or Sebastian gets pulled up there as her personal butler. And that's our end.
Fair.
I don't even know what planning to do for this shit, though.
Nope.
My hardest dungeon yet. Social dungeon.
My only social stat is intimidation. So
Well, good. You got chosen because you suck so much at being a
Yeah.
human being.
I'll just do that.
She's like, ooh, broken toy. Everybody else is like, ew, broken toy. Yeah, you can have it.
He's getting a good pay out of it.
Yes, he's getting a disgustingly good pay out of it. Because the rest of us are getting, what, like 5 a week, and he's getting like 5 a day.
I didn't even write down how much pay because Sebastian didn't care.
You get 5 crown a day. Oh, we get 1 crown a week.
Oof.
Yep.
Welcome to the big leagues. No pressure.
To the man who only has rings.
He gets coins. Do I have to put the hole in them myself?
So, I guess you guys walk to the your place of stay at the moment, quietly contemplating your upcoming trials.
Oh. The only thing that's getting him through this is Radovan's going to owe me. Radovan's going to owe me. Radovan's going to owe me for the rest of his life, which is impressive because he's a fucking Vitala.
And just as some helpful hints from your DM, this isn't only just about rolling good persuasion checks and getting information. Sleuthing, sneaking around, finding dirt, or just prodding for types of information that can help. In the very least, turn House Amorous more against House Rosencratz. Are all valid ways of surpassing this trial. It's a lot of roleplay, and I will not be relying on rolls as much as just conversation. Though, if you don't know what to say but you want to do something, feel free to make a roll instead.
We only have 2 options, guys. We have to literally humanize ourselves in their eyes, or we gotta blackmail them.
I don't know if we want to humanize ourselves in their eyes.
Well, you know what I meant. There's like quotation marks around that.
I don't.
So you guys head off to the inn to rest, unless anyone wants to have any conversations. And then you guys spend the I've never seen my players sweat more than I have at this moment. I put you guys up against unwinnable fights and see you fare better.
Yeah, because in tabletops, it's like, yeah, the combat is always, that's always inevitable. Somebody's gonna try and kick your face in. You may deserve it, you may not. Maybe they deserve it. Maybe you both do. Spice it up a little. Social stuff is also necessary, but normally it's kind of like a meet and greet of like first impressions, or hey, go to war for us, or interpersonal. Not, you're all servants seen as lesser creatures by a bunch of Vitala, and you have to convince them to join another Vitala house side they don't like. Don't get eaten. Also, one of them fucking hates all of you. Nothing personal, except it's very personal.
I detect that both players and characters will have some character growth in this part.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It might be the opposite.
You just start degrading.
Character regression.
You're just like, okay, I'm tired of this. Sebastian just throws God through a window.
I know I made a decision for myself after, the prison, that Sebastian's a bit more open and willing to trust people, but no, everyone dies here today. I'm going to shatter everyone. No one gets out of this alive.
Psychopath arc.
They can't become a hindrance if they're not alive.
No, we need the numbers. We can't take Iqbal.
So, the next day, you guys have until late evening before you need to go and perform your duties. So you have a chance to prepare.
requires a deep well of emotional intelligence, self-awareness, patience. Jacques has none of these things.
Sebastian has one of those things.
They can't hear you screaming if it's all internally.
Man, Serena, you're gonna earn a strength point after you carry everyone through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, and it's on one of my meh face days too. Oh dear.
Trust me, you guys will be fine.
Oh, I don't doubt you know how to work around our characters, so.
It's okay
And don't
because
forget,
I'm not feeling up to the challenge. I just had to play characters better so that you guys will get sucked into the story.
we do like your NPCs most of the time.
Or you hate them, but that's also by design.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Anastasia, you will not get away from this without awkward family conflicts.
Oh, I know. Especially since I know as a player what's on the way.
Uh-huh.
This is gonna be fun.
Speaking of Anastasia,
Okay.
you wake up somewhat early. It's still hard to get back into the normal nocturnal cycle. As, I mean, it's been fantastic sleeping past noon again.
Darn year traveling with daybirds.
But you find it hard to sleep anywhere past 5, 6 p.m. So, by Vitello standards, you're waking up at like 4 in the morning.
Hey, I can relate to that.
Conditioned.
He will let Finwith know he has ruined him.
He'll be sad until he realizes that's a joke.
As you wake and leave your chambers, suddenly your heart drops. As they're sitting on one of the nice armchairs in the living room is Laurenteve in casual clothing. Just reading a small book when his eyes kind of slide up to meet you.
Anastasia promptly goes, damn it, another nightmare, and just walks back to his room. I mean, as a joke. He's not gonna turn around, he just stands there.
Okay. I was like, that was not what I expected. You did throw me a curveball there. As he looks up, he's like, Anas. I've been hearing quite a lot about you recently.
You're home early. Mother said you'd be gone for a few more days.
But we're gonna cut to the other group for now.
Which one? There's two. I'm just kidding.
Don't.
Yes, that's why it's
Fuck
the other
this up.
group. Because now I can let that stew for a bit. As you guys are all heading back to the Amoros mansion.
Well, I guess we'll probably be splitting up in there, yeah?
I assume so.
Most likely. If we do speak, we'll see one another. It will most likely be in passing. Unless, of course, breaks are taken at roughly the same time.
Actually, this might be a good time, Sebastian, for you to put on that one ring.
Good idea. Sure, he puts it on.
Okay. At least Jock will know if you are handled roughly, I suppose.
Jock will be notified on the occasion of my death. I'm aware of how it works.
Or general changing vitals, I suppose. We'll
Alright,
see
so-
the exact extent.
Does the ring like? Actually, let me look at the description again.
I'm
Does
gonna
it
feel
just-
your panic attacks.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Does it like? Can Jock just peek in at his heart rate?
It's nothing so direct. You get a vague sense of the general health condition of your partner. So
Is crippling, like anxiety attacks, part of that?
if it gives you a heart attack, yes.
All right, good to know. Because I just want to know how much like anger and disgust Sebastian was going to like be aware of, and how much fear Jock would be aware of.
Yeah, no. Essentially, it will notify you if they become, if they get to half health, quarter health, and dead.
Okay.
Shock.
Or if something is killing you, like a disease, or like something that's rapidly deteriorating your form.
I know
Pokes once, feels you die from the poison.
if I know anything about Sebastian, you'll be hitting those half and quarter marks really quickly.
Very quickly.
Arthur and Sebastian speedrun dying.
The
Arthur
only
beat
thing
it a long time ago.
the only thing saving me is that I am pretty good with a psychonetic shield unless I fumble. Then I'm fucked.
Yeah, well, Jacques. I wouldn't say obligingly because that implies like any type of like positive resignation to this act. Puts on the other ring.
As you guys approach the manor, you see Godfrey is standing rather butlerly at the front entrance, at attention, and waiting for y'all.
Serena,
Go ahead.
Serena watches for Jock's greeting and tries to imitate as best she can.
Nice baton pass. Here you go. You get to interact in this scene. Dink.
Hey, anti-face character. Here you go. It's mild. He doesn't have to make the butler like him necessarily, but he's not being mean. The guy is technically, by virtue of also being immortal in a house full of fucking vampires, an ally. So there's just a clip. Good morning.
Good morning. So,
He looks up at the time. Just evening.
as you all may know, you will not be entering in through the main entrance when you arrive on the scene. So, I'll show you to the staff entrance. Let's see. Uncrosses his arms from behind his back and takes a few steps down and kind of guides you guys past a side entrance. You guys are seeing that the garden is coming along nicely. It's been renovated quite well. There's these nice arcs covered in vines and flowering plants. And some nice like gooseberry bushes being well tended to along the side of the manor. As you guys kind of come up and almost hidden by hedges, a section that seems to not necessarily have been attended to quite yet, there is a wooden door in the side of the house that you would miss if you were honestly not paying attention. He goes and
Had one
opens
of
the
Devon's
door.
broke notices.
He goes and opens the door, revealing on the inside a particularly small room. It's got some small cabinets in it, like some old wardrobes that have been repurposed for the use of staff to put any of their coats or any of their non, staff wear, as well as a large vanity mirror, a little ostentatious. Again, looks like another hand-me-down from the house that has just been kind of repurposed for staff use. And the mirror's a big, like, ground-to-ceiling mirror. You may put your belongings in here. And make sure you're presentable before heading out onto the floor.
Of course. Thank you for showing us around.
Of course. Well, when you're all ready, he goes and he stands at attention by the door. We can continue.
Settles the larger overcoat on one of the hooks. Ensures that it's nicely hung so it doesn't wrinkle. Won't take extra insults. I think Sebastian wears a long coat, but I don't know if he would wear it over top his work clothes on the way. But if he does, then he is directed to put it up.
And he listens, follows suit.
Doc takes a critical eye over both of them. Notes anything that's out of place for them to adjust.
Serena does so earnestly and willingly.
Sebastian does so telekinetically.
You won't be able to keep them doing that.
I am aware.
No. You do not know where eyes and ears are.
Godfrey doesn't say anything. He's in the room.
I did not know that.
I said he stood by the door at attention.
I didn't know if he was staring at me. Then I do it with my hands.
He wasn't staring at you, but he's. It's not a big room. It's hard to really miss all too much.
That's fair.
There's one benefit to your particular gait. Your shoes don't need any work. Because you just get dust on it, you should let it everywhere. Fucking bastard. Okay. They meet Doc's muster, which is already a high enough degree. Yeah, gestures. Well, shall we see to what tasks we will be tending?
Who are you speaking to?
He's like gesturing to the two of them to head over, but they're good.
All right. And I guess they'll walk over and stand in front of Godfrey.
When he sees that you're all ready, he turns and opens the door, which seems to open into a small kind of like hallway that goes underneath the main stairs that kind of leads up to the next level. Once you're all out, he closes the door. But as you guys are heading out, what are your notices? The character sheets are kind of here, there, and everywhere at the moment.
A good old 90.
A 90 as well.
Yes, I have Serena and I have Jacques.
Yeah.
If Jacques is still a 70. Okay. So Serena and well, as you guys walk out, Godfrey begins to speak and he's like, most of the masters of the house are not going to be up at this time, and you guys hear a very sudden, almost panicked set of footsteps going up the stairs. Serena and
It's 80.
Sebastian. It's 80 now. Okay. My notes had not been updated. Then you all notice The sight's on the stairs. It's above your kind of view range a bit. But you can see what looked to be a slight flit of a dress or something. But you don't have no idea who it was or what they were doing. Just a very panicked, like, footsteps up the stairs. And Godfrey stops and looks up. He returns his attention back. Most. Don't typically wake until the sun sets, around 8 or 9. One of the exceptions being, of course, Donovan, who tends to wake around this time. Though, for the most part, he keeps to himself. And just likes to keep an eye on the house. I don't recommend making direct eye contact with him, if at all possible.
That's fair. Is there any particular tasks that he prefers to have done at the house?
None that I'm aware of. All that he would demand is that you all present yourself in a more respectable fashion.
That should not be a problem.
So, for the time being, at least, I'll show you all the general rooms and expectations. When we get closer to the time all masters wake up, Sebastian, I'll show you where Lady Liliana's room is. From this point, he begins to show you the various rooms of the house. There is a strangely large kitchen in this house. And you actually see a couple of the staff. They look to be like... they're not dressed necessarily as chefs, but they are dressed kind of like as... lower housekeepers. They're not like maids. But they're like backroom ladies. They're like the cleaning ladies, you know, kind of sense as far as their attire is concerned.
They're just washing bloody glasses constantly.
No, they actually do seem to be cooking something. It gives off a very pungent, somewhat sweet, herby kind of smell. The kitchen does not seem to get much use. But the masters do like a bit of potpourri around the house. So, daily, Gertruda and Madeline, he motions over to them, who meekly wave. Go about preparing scented oils to place in various rooms of the house. If you detect that any of the jars that they're held in is losing its potency, you can always bring it down to the kitchen and they will have it refilled. They also tend to the grim task of cleaning the master's dinnerware. A task that I don't recommend you do or be present in the kitchen at the end of your shift. The smell becomes quite pungent. With that, he moves along. He shows you guys various closets. There's a wardrobe closet that has the master's going out gear, various ostentatious garb, coats, jackets that need to be dusted and tended to daily. Make sure that there's no, nothing's moth-eaten or anything like that. He shows you the various cleaning closets, if you need to make any, clean anything in particular. Various, goose feather dusters and fine bristle brooms and all that kind of stuff. There is lemon scented lye for use of cleaning some of the wood, as well as varnishes. There is shoe polish as well, though not common. If the need ever arise to polish one of the master shoes, they have that stuff available. He shows you the large living room area, which has many portraits of the various family members around the house. You guys finally get a nice view of Lady Beau, or the matron of House Amorous. From everything you've been told, you expect someone well on in years. But no. She looks like a woman in her mid-30s. Long, red hair that's very neatly woven into a long braid that kind of hangs over her shoulder. And she has a very nice, open blouse with a, jacket top. And she looks very kind in the photo, in the painting, and very stately, as it were.
Finally, someone with class. I took a painting.
Many of the portraits have the same kind of feel to them, though those with a keen enough eye can detect the various personalities of house members, whether they have their larger than necessary grin, or the necessity to have a woman in their portraits, or the overly touched up, too much makeup kind of look.
I'm sorry, it's so hard to pay attention with Ripley being that cute.
She's very adorable.
She's really happy she can do this again.
Acer's also being adorable, passed out behind you.
He is out like a light. Yeah, Jacques keeps a critical eye on things, and as he's going, he's also keeping an eye out for stuff that just would be unacceptable.
Well, for the most part, the house is in pretty good condition. There's other staff around the house as well. You see various other humans who are wearing, similar outfits, tending to it. Mostly young folk, actually. People in their late teens, early 20s. A few men, mostly women, tending around. And you are shown the hallways to the various rooms of many of the masters of the house. This house seems to have a vertical hierarchy as far as living situation is concerned. At the very top, on the 5th floor of this huge mansion, as I mentioned before, is Lady Beau's flat, essentially. A whole floor to herself. Below her is Liliana's and Bernadine.
Is it Lilia? I thought it was just Lilia.
Bernadine. Are on the 4th floor, and this house has a large have you ever seen it in the movies? It's like they have this large kind of like stairwell that kind of goes up and up and up and up, with a large landing that kind of leads onto a section of the house, and then you go up to the next level, and our large landing. It's a rather large estate, large mansion. If you were to put your thumb on it, it probably has like 100 bedrooms.
Yep.
Not only that, but for the convenience of staff, and also because it was priorly used as a form of disguise, but now is a sign of, being rich, they have working bathrooms in this house. They have 2 per floor. That means there's about, 8, give or take, maybe more if there's any up on the 5th floor, but bathrooms for use. They're having it renovated, and it's getting, new plumbing, and it's going to have running water, because that seems to be the thing that the mortals are doing now in their massive cities. Which means there's some poor suckers who are out there digging up a drain system and sewer system.
That will literally never be used.
Yeah.
No, it'll be used by the
Except
house
by
staff.
like 4 staff.
I don't know why, but Anima, again, I keep forgetting. Anima, certain places just have fucking plumbing, running water. I keep forgetting. Like, oh yeah, you can just go to the city. They got showers.
Hey, we know one has key cards.
Yeah.
It's a wonderfully dynamic world.
It's one of those things where every once in a while, like, you mention something and I'm like taken aback for like half a second. I'm like, oh yeah, wait, no.
Wait, where's the piss bucket? Oh no, this place has running water. But is it heated? No, that's the other city.
But yeah, on the floor beneath that, you have Donovan, you have Chistobal, and you have Yvonne and Victor's rooms. And then on the floor below that, the 2nd floor above the base floor, is where the remaining family members have their rooms. So Salem, Erasmus, Velvet, Rune, Drila, and Valjit.
I was trying to remember Valjit because I realized they weren't written down in the list. I remember now that it's our spy friend.
Yes. The 2nd floor is where you probably will all be spending the majority of your time, as this is where the most chaos happens, though Godfrey puts it in a much more refined way. Not only that, but on the 3rd floor, there is the main library and study. A incredibly massive room that requires very constant dusting, as many of the books are getting on in years and thus are slightly deteriorating. And on the 4th floor, there are a few private chambers, workrooms, and like business rooms, where the mostly Donovan, Bernadine, and Jonathan are tending to the house's, various financial incomes and such. And these rooms are off limits to staff. So, quick recap. Deviants are on the second floor. The house guard and Yvonne are on the third floor. Bernadine and Liliana are on the fourth floor. The library study is on the third floor. Yes. And the commerce special rooms, the private chambers are on the fourth floor.
Is it Lilia or Liliana?
Liliana.
Okay, because your notes have Lilia.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is Lilia.
Okay.
I thought it was Liliana. No, it is Lilia.
No, Lilia.
I'm sorry. It's a lot of names.
These yours are easy to say.
My notes incorrect, Cameron.
I'm sorry.
I can't live with that kind of shame. Who do you think I am, Alex?
I was waiting for it.
Don't make me get more cows. I can
Alex,
send Beth on an excursion.
Alex just his notes is just probably vampires, 5th floor important, and then like some other brief description of something.
I have the information
He
on
does
that.
claim he's got better.
That's fair.
Now, as you are all some of the last staff to be hired on recently, Godfrey generally assigns everyone a particular set of duties to do when you're not being commanded to do otherwise. For Jacques and Serena, your job is mostly to tend to the study and to tend to the second floor. You were told to go by, to dust, clean up anything on the floor, wash the carpets if need be. Make sure all the plants have water and that they're being tended to. And then also the study is just a massive room that seems to generate dust. So spending time in there cleaning up is going to be a majority of what you do. There is another young man who's also has the same job that you guys do. His name is Trent. He is a young man with blonde, short hair, kind of in a military cut with the fade on the sides. And he is known to be a talker. So you are to be on your guard to make sure that you are all doing work and not chatting overtly much, and never to chat in the presence of the masters. Sebastian, you have one of the sole people to be working on the 4th floor as far as cleaning it up and maintaining it, when not attending to Lilia's various commands.
Is that the 3rd or the 4th?
4th. Lily is on the 4th floor with Bernadine.
Okay.
Essentially, it goes Bo, her children, her children's
Yeah, I got
children / important people. Deviants. Now, besides you all, there are 7 other maids and butlers, most of whom are tending to either the 1st floor or various other kinds of jobs, like being a liaison for their various business where it deals or what have you. So Godfrey can be found most often working with Donovan. Or just monitoring the house and tending to the rooms on the 4th floor, where he is the only staff with permission to enter and clean, as he has been given implicit duties to do so. So, with that, you guys are left to tend to your floors until Sebastian, at least, needs to start his duty. And, you guys meet with whoever. But in the meantime, while you guys are contemplating the trial to come, we're going to hop back over to Anastasia. As Lauren is there, looking at you, grinning in his normal fashion.
It's like he never left.
Well, to pick up where you left off, where you said you're home early or something along those lines.
Yeah, he
Mother said
you're
you'd be
home.
gone for a few
Mother
days.
said, yep.
Well, I heard my younger brother was coming home, or had come home. So I had to see you firsthand.
How'd you find out I was home?
Met some friends of yours.
He like pauses for a second, like recollection, and then he gets the oh shit look.
He gets up. He's wearing his casual clothes. He's got, tight, dark pants, nice material, kind of a blousey top. It's very kind of laid open, though. It's not very sutured up or anything. Alex has left and fucked everything up.
Well, at least only those two swapped.
But he kind of gets up and walks in your direction. So, I've been hearing some interesting things about you and us.
What?
How you came and kept the honor of the family house. Retrieved Radovan and brought honor to the Servants. He kind of gives you a very kind of knowing look.
Anastasia just raises his eyebrow. Doesn't make a verbal response yet.
He comes over and lays a hand on your shoulder. I just wanted to say how proud I was.
Mm-hmm.
What's
Careful sign
this?
into
You
that
don't
mic.
look overly pleased with everything going on. Why so pulsed? Plussed.
Something tells me if you've met my friends, you probably know a bit more than you're letting on. So what is it? He just crosses his arms.
No, nothing. Just you have some interesting friends. doing fine, by the way.
He gets like a little concerned look for a split second.
I roughed one of them up pretty bad, but he's fine. I think.
Oh god, which one? Just like pinches the bridge of his nose.
You know, they gave me their names and I honestly don't remember any of them.
Is it a smaller human or one of the larger ones?
Smaller one. He had the weird weapons that shot things.
Unfortunately, I don't know him as well as the two taller ones, so he's probably fine.
He shrugs. Well, anyway. Glad to see that your rescue mission of our Lord went smoothly. He gives you a bit of a toothy grin. And that you got to see a lot to the outside world. Minadora has been talking about it nonstop.
It's a shame I left one of the best parts out of the conversation. It wasn't appropriate for dinner talk.
Oh, and what was that?
Tell me what you know. I'll tell you.
No.
Then you won't know, and he just starts to walk back to his room.
Okay, and you won't know what I know.
Welcome back. Hope you get some sleep soon.
He just watches you go. Just shrugs. Sets his book down and heads off to his room.
Once the door is shut to his room, Anastasia is like the fuck. He knows something. Before everyone wakes up, he'll probably slip up to the library, grab a book, and then return to his room and just stay there until everyone's awake.
Doesn't take too much longer before the house is up and about. As everyone is getting up, a very tired Minadora comes in. She had to pull the day shift today, unfortunately.
Ugh. Just out of curiosity, because I know the rotation's a little bit better. Is it just one person on the day shift rotation, or is it like a couple people on the day shift rotation?
It changes. Some days it's one person, other days it's a couple people. Your father has always said that mortals are always highly suspicious and paranoid individuals, so any lack of consistency seems to always throw them off.
He's not wrong. Morning, sis. As he waves to.
Good morning, Anas. Oh, you need to get on shift already, so I can trade off with you. I mean, I enjoy the fact that Father is giving me this responsibility, but I don't know how they can do it. It's so damn bright all the time, my eyes hurt.
Try being in places without clouds, it's much worse.
I can only imagine. That sounds scary.
Definitely was. Well, I'll let you get some rest.
Don't laze about too long, brother. I know you've had a long journey, but we have a lot of work left to do. And she walks off to her room. It's strange, as it's so much the same but so different at the same time. Many of your family members still have the same rhythm that they did before the torpor. Your mother would be up and about, though she always tended to head out to the garden as the sun began to set. She always claimed that the red and orange lights brought out the most in her flowers. Your uncles typically got up and immediately headed out to begin work or to warm up before taking duty. And almost first thing in the morning, you and Trey would go out and train with your uncle Decabal.
Is he requested to do training like normal, or is he given an option to sit this one out since he just got back?
If you ask anyone about it, they'll say, you've earned some rest. Take as much time as you need.
Come on, don't you want another sparring session?
Not with Trey in front of him.
Though Trey
fuck
comes
that.
out,
Duck their asses.
and hearing this, he just seems to sour his mood further as he doesn't make eye contact with you and just heads out to the training grounds.
Damned if he goes, damned if he doesn't goes.
Yeah, it's a very hard situation.
I'd probably spend his time then while Trey is training, studying in the library. If anything, a quiet place to just sit and think.
Okay. To your dismay, or not, Lauren Teeve seems to be up and at it again before too long.
Damn it, he has the same sleep cycle.
It's hard to know. It always felt like he was awake. Whenever you went to bed, he was awake, and whenever you woke up, he was awake, so you never really knew. You just knew that he was probably working hard and, you know, doing what he needs to do. But this is one of the rare situations where you see he goes to bed, but he only stays in bed for a few hours before he's up and at it again.
This man's the Energizer Bunny, I swear. So is he out and about by the time I head up to the study then, or?
Shortly after you've been in the study for a bit.
Okay.
But the house seems to clear out about the time that he's up and about. And you can hear him walking around.
Not sure why, but hearing Lauren's footsteps downstairs, he feels slightly cornered. It's almost like knowing the lion is pacing outside the door, even though you know it's probably not going to kill you on contact the first time.
He passes by the library, doesn't poke in, doesn't do anything, just goes and heads off somewhere else in the house.
How long does training normally last?
Well, back in the day when you were training, you guys spent pretty much the whole day training in some form or fashion. You usually start out with a few hours of exercise and drills, followed by, your education. And then sometime around 2 a.m., you guys would be free to do whatever until it was time to sleep.
Okay. Well, once he knows that Trey is going to be done with drills and eventually come in for his studies, he's going to conveniently leave and not be in the area when Trey comes in. Just taking Mino's advice and just avoiding Trey.
Okay.
He does go out and sit in the garden, though, a good distance away from anyone that might be out there.
Your mother was typically in charge of your guys' education.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the time you're heading out there, she's heading inside. She just smiles at you sweetly and heads in.
He goes out to the garden, finds a nice bench, a good distance away from the house. Probably near a slightly overgrown bush, and he takes the ring out of his pocket and just turns it over in his hands, just trying to think of what to do.
With that, we'll cut over to Sebastian.
Fuck.
You have to go
As-
first because you fucked up the video order.
Damn it.
As you're currently tending to cleaning various things on the floor, probably a little too meticulously, as you haven't been given the direct parameter of what is clean. Is it spotless? Is it so the dust isn't there?
Better safe than sorry.
In a situation of sitting there thinking of the most efficient way to clean and dust, to use as little energy as possible and save the most time, you hear a door open behind you, but before you look, it suddenly shuts again, as if it had only been opened a crack.
Yeah. He looks at the door, seeing that it's closed now. Just goes back to try to figure out how to clean this floor. Someone's closing the door. So he's waiting for orders.
Right by the door. Who could it be?
What
Who?
have you seen Alex so uncomfortable?
It's not uncomfortable. It's just this mode of like, what do I?
Well, to be fair, normally your concern when being stalked by a vampire isn't they're gonna ask me to do house cleaning, it's am I gonna fucking die? And this time it's fucking neither. She's just creeping on you.
Just
She straight up 404'd yesterday when she realized, oh wait, he's my personal butler? I have to give him order? How do I do that?
was Sebastian given like direct, like when he should start his duties, like serving her directly, or
She'll probably come out of her room and address you. She hasn't had a personal butler before, so no one knows exactly what you need to be doing.
all right, he's gonna keep like trying to solve this floor problem. He's putting all of his tactics brain into it.
You've solved this floor puzzle once you've like toothbrush cleaned the grout.
If I
There's
take
just
this,
this wrinkle in the carpet, and no matter where he pulls it, it just makes another wrinkle.
Then you realize, like, oh, because it's not even a rug, it's like the carpet, so like you would have to like pull up the whole thing and like re-staple it back down.
It's maddening.
Eventually, the door opens again. And Lilia comes out. She is, in contrast to kind of her reddish lighter attire before she's wearing a nice long like black dress. It's very stately, very I would say, I mean, it's ostentatious, noble gear. A normal person will look at it and be like, "Are you going out to eat?" But you know, she comes up and she turns and kind of just walks by you. Begins heading out down the stairs.
He kind of like looks. He watches as she does this, like assuming some sort of order. When she doesn't, he keeps working out what he's doing.
This poor woman.
From what it seems like, it's just waiting for Sebastian to say, "Oh hi, what's up?" He's not gonna do that anytime soon. I think
Please take care
Sebastian
of me.
knows. That's how it works.
So Lilia goes downstairs. She makes it all the way down to like the second floor, where Jacques and Serena are probably out and about, and you notice that she's up surprisingly early, or at least it seems like it, as compared to no one else is up in the house yet. You guys have seen Donovan. He kind of patrols around like some of the upper floors, goes into a room for a little bit and does something. But as far as the other family members go, Liliana is the next one you guys see, as she kind of makes it down 2 flights of stairs, and then she's looking up the banisters.
Are you looking for someone, ma'am?
No. I was just wondering where my attendant is.
Oh, I believe he was ordered to go and clean the 4th floor, ma'am.
Oh, I must not have seen him. I guess I should go find him right away and let him know what he needs to do.
Very well. She says with a smile.
Little curtsy.
And as she's talking to you, you just feel happy. It's hard to describe it. She's a very light presence in this otherwise restricting and dark house.
Probably fair.
Her and Serena get too close and they just explode in radiant energy.
Which, speaking of, this house is just on the brink of being like dim light. All the light is very low, bright enough for you all to see, but there's lots of dark corners. It takes some acclimating to kind of get used to this more dimly lit room.
No freaks of
Manning.
nature with night vision.
With that, she heads upstairs.
Where Sebastian's making some headway on like, all right, if I go this route specifically, I can hit this on the way back. As he's just planning everything.
Rolls tactics for cleaning.
Can I?
Sure, go ahead. Roll me your
This is the
roll
most
me your
efficient use of time.
battle plan.
That's a 182.
This house is mine.
My
He has
description
brooms
earlier-
levitating up top, sweeping the ceiling.
My description earlier was not inaccurate. You are thinking of the most efficient ways to clean and utilize your time. It takes a frustrating amount of time of going to a closet, retrieving the needed item, going cleaning, coming back. You contemplate getting like a bag or a backpack or something to carry all the cleaning supplies in. By the time Lilia comes up, and she's like, "Oh, Sebastian, there you are."
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. You seem busy.
I am simply figuring out what the best way to clean this floor would be.
I'm assuming you use a broom, right?
That was step 1 of my plan, yes.
Okay. It sounds difficult.
In a way, yes.
Well, it's your first day, so we can be a little lenient with you and let you take your time to figure things out. No need to rush or be hasty.
There's no need. If you wish for me to do something, I will happily do it.
Well, I want you to do a good job.
Understood, ma'am. He gives a very polite bow.
She looks you over. And she seems to be trying her best to, I guess, be a good master.
Can I roll insight?
Yeah, you can.
I want to determine. Primarily, he's looking for just personality things that he can pay attention to and totally not use to manipulate later. Jesus fucking Christ. That's a fumble.
Okay.
Ooh, should I use my luck on that?
Is there a chip in your armor? Either that or feel a curl of guilt for manipulating these darling angels.
No. I'm using my luck to reroll this.
Okay.
This is important and will base certain things later, so.
Sure.
It's the first time these dice have fumbled on me.
Touched by destiny.
145.
Okay. Looking her over, she's trying to keep her composure. She is trying her best to seem, I guess, aristocratic. She does seem to be invested in how you're doing. There's also this hint of doubt or being unsure. But these are the general feelings that you pick up from her at this moment in time. She's like, well, keep up the good work. And if you have any questions, I will be in my room. And she just kind of doesn't give you a chance to really answer. She just kind of glides past you and goes into her room. You realize now that she has literally left her room, walked down a few flights of stairs, came back up immediately, and went back into her room. You have no idea why she's done this.
No. None.
Serena docked downstairs, face popping.
This imagine does not have the social intelligence to understand she was trying to be noticed by him. Well, he does what he's ordered and does a good job.
He's almost tempted to trade you out for Arthur permanently.
For Serena and Jacques, not too much longer after that whole event happens, you notice the various house members getting up. First is names. Too many names. Valjeet, who walks by you all. And he just looks at you all, just kind of pseudo nods and walks out of the house. Doesn't make much of a presence. Next is Salem, who walks out. And he's like, "Oh, that was a good sleep. Oh, look, our new house staff are here."
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Serena. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing quite well. How about yourself?
Oh, doing quite well. He looks around. Well, I feel like I might go out on the town. What do you think I should wear?
Has it
As he's
been
asking
particularly
Serena, like, cuts his eyes over just immediately, like,
has it been particularly chilly today at all, or?
It's somewhat chilly in Moth in general.
I'd probably recommend a jacket. It has been a little colder than usual today.
The jackets. Oh, I have quite a few jackets. Would you like to come and help me pick out something presentable for the town?
If that is what you wish, sir.
just gives her a side eye.
Good, good. As he begins moving, suddenly an iron door opens up. Velvet steps out of her room. And she notices you, and she's like, "Serena! Oh, you look so wonderful."
Oh, good evening, ma'am.
I hope
think
it's
you're going out of the
accommodating for you.
What was that?
I hope it's accommodating for you. We do our best to make sure our staff are well looked after.
Everybody's been very friendly so far.
Oh, I imagine they have. She looks up at Salem, who looks not quite pleased by the scenario. Well, I would like for you to fetch for me something. I'm wondering if they have any of that nice rosy potpourri downstairs.
Oh, you could do that, ma'am, if that's all right with you. And she turns to Salem.
Well, sister, I was going to go and have her help me get dressed for the evening. Velvet turns sharply in his direction. Oh. I'm sorry, I didn't know you needed staff to help you dress in the morning. That seems like quite the hassle. Well, I obviously don't have quite the aesthetic appeal that you do. He motions over her. So riveting, I must say. So wonderful, and I only can hope to get up to your level. She's not buying into this ploy. And she's like, "You don't need to be taking in the female staff into your room. That seems unbefitting of a workplace environment." Well, I can't well bring my dresser out here, now can I? Go get that Trent fellow to have a look. I'm sure he's suitable. Another door opens nearby. Erasmus walks out of his room.
Serena!
He sees everything that's going on, and he kind of gets a smirk on his face. And he looks over at you, Jacques, and he seems less unenthused by your presence. But he's just like, I couldn't help but overhear the conversation going outside my room at this early hour. You look like a well-dressed individual. Maybe you can help my dear brother find some appropriate attire. Velvet overhearing this conversation. It's like, yes! That one can definitely help you with your look, Salem. While Serena helps me pick out some nice pungents and sweet-smelling aromas. I'm sure you men can't quite get it.
He just steps down on a sigh and looks to Suna with a, I believe you have been requested a task. Fetch the jars. And turns to Erasmus. Yes. Of course, madam. I'd be happy to help. Before he turns to Salem with a faintly quirked brow, awaiting his approval.
He clicks his tongue, but he seems to give up at this moment. He's like, very well.
Don't worry, sir. You're in very good hands. I will go to fetch that potpourri now, ma'am. She does a slight bow.
Of course. And just bring it up to my room so we can make it nice and fresh and fragrant. At this, suddenly, Salem turns around. Oh, so she can go to your room now. Well, yes, of course, I'm a woman, same as she. There's nothing strange about that. I don't know, sister, that sounds very suspect. I think you just want to claim it for yourself.
Doc could not be more politely standing at attention watching this, just writhing on the inside at their behavior. Deviants, indeed.
You detect a slight resonance as you look over, and Erasmus seems to be doing more or less the same thing. Less formally, but he just seems very amused by what's going on.
I mean, this would be delightful court rumors of, like, just the discord in the house. Delightful. But also disgusting.
As the two continue bickering, Godfrey makes his way downstairs. Hearing this, as it is very hard to miss in this relatively quiet house otherwise, he comes over next to you, Serena, and he says, "It's unfortunate that Serena here has caused such a disturbance amongst you all. I can assign her to a place a lot less distracting, if you all will." The two quickly snap and turn over into him. And they're just like, "We didn't ask you, Godfrey, for your opinion." Velvet chimes in. She's like, "We're just discussing the most appropriate way that she can serve us." They both look to each other and they kind of sneer, but look back in your guys' direction. "There's not a problem at all, please. You don't need to go to such a hassle." Velvet's just like, "Yeah, it's up to us to decide where she works after all. We are her employers." Erasmus can't help now but jump in and comes up. "Well, maybe she can help me with my affairs then. I do need an escort around town." The other two look to him and they're like, she's not going to walk around town with you, almost simultaneously. As they all continue bickering some more.
Dog's like gradually his attention's like moving to the staircase, like waiting for Donovan or one of the other like higher household members to step in.
Coincidentally.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
He could feel
As-
it coming.
You look over. You see another Vitella, one you have not met in person before. You see a refined, familiar-looking face. Her hair is much deeper shade of red, very crimson, than her younger sister Lilia's. As you see Brenadine. Walk out around the corner and see everything that's going on. She turns to Godfrey. Godfrey, I need help with one of your staff. Could you direct one to me, please? Godfrey turns to you, Serena. Would you mind helping the lady?
Of course. I could do that.
He turns to her. He bows. This is Serena. He bows. New to the staff, but... well... she's in high demand, so can't imagine anyone better. Brandon looks down at you. Her face expression doesn't really change all too much. She's like, she will do. Come.
Yes, ma'am. She will follow her.
As they do that, all the three deviants arguing amongst themselves somewhat stop. And look, and they begin bickering again about, oh, you got the help, you got Bernadine involved in this. How dare you? How dare I? How dare you? You're causing a ruckus so early in the morning.
Tempted to check his pocket watch.
Godfrey turns to you, Jacques. Can you go fetch the potpourri from downstairs?
Of course.
Master Salem, I can help you with your attire if you so wish. And he turns, looks, seeing that everything's kind of getting diffused now, he just sighs and he's like, no, I lost much of the appeal of going out for the evening.
He does pause, kind of like at the stairs to head down, and if I may, my lords, darker and warmer tones for paler skin tones.
Thanks. I appreciate
And
your
heads down the
input.
stairs. He quick bow and then heads down the stairs.
Serena, as you're walking with Lady Brenadine, she sighs to herself and says, the image of House Ambrose is falling by the day. She's speaking more to herself at this point. She escorts you outside, and she goes to finds the best looking flowers, prettiest flowers she can, and she kind of has you hold them as she plucks the various ones that catch her interest.
Do any of them look particularly familiar?
A lot of them are standard, like, low sunlight plants. But they're mostly common varieties of flowering plants.
Okay.
Some roses, tulips, orchids.
What's the occasion for, if I may ask, ma'am?
Just a hobby of mine. My mother wanted House Amoros to be somewhat akin to a bouquet, where various different flowers of varieties of smells and colors come together to form something more beautiful than just anyone could. A bouquet is personal. It's something that makes a statement and that can convey feelings or emotions, ideas. Ever since she told me that, I've always taken to a habit of doing it as a child, and it's carried well on into my adult years. I just feel my mother's personal choice in flowers is a little lacking.
I don't know much about your mother's choices, but could it be just she made her choices due to the meaning or sentimentality of everything?
I'm not paying you to talk, paying you to hold flowers at this moment. We don't need to be discussing my mother or anything like that. It's something you couldn't possibly understand.
Of course, ma'am.
With that, she continues until she has produced a quite well gathered up display of flowers. In which she goes and retrieves some twine, binding their stems, and then taking them from you. And she says, "Thank you for your assistance. Please make sure you don't cause further disruptions."
I will try my utmost, ma'am. She does a curtsy.
And she turns and walks off. So at this point, that Sebastian, you hear some footsteps coming up to the 4th floor. As you see another Vitella that has not been seen in person yet. She has long, silky black hair. Her facial expression is, her face shape is very different. Many of the Vitella have relatively human-like characteristics to their face. Very similar, like you can look at a Vitella, and besides like the paleness of their skin or the color of their eye, you wouldn't think that they were non-human necessarily. Her face is different. There's something to the geometry of it. It's symmetrical, of course, and not very off, but her face just has a non-human look to it. That's not disturbing by any means. In fact, it has a level of like beauty to it, but it's unsettling at the same time. It's a strange mix between a woman's face that's just slightly off from human, still feminine, still beautiful, but at the same time inhuman. And I guess I can just say is just like, imagine like a face that is somewhat slim and like smooth, but like the cheekbones are kind of like missing in a sense. It has a very unworldly kind of, it's a hard description to make. Other than just the fact that like you can't put your finger on it, but you can tell that she's not human by her face. But she's not ugly or She's creepy. She's very beautiful. She looks at you, and as she's walking by, her eyes kind of follow you, but she says nothing. She goes up to Lilia's room and knocks. And she says, Lily, it's time for tea. The door opens. Lilia is there, and she looks at her and she says, Drula, yes, of course. I have everything set up. She allows her in, and they kind of slip in. Door closes. It's a solid 20-30 minutes before the door opens. Drilla sticks her head out and looks around until she spots you, Sebastian. You, servant, come this way. We need your assistance.
Of course. Maybe heads over, dropping whatever he was doing.
And as you go in, we're going to take a bathroom break.
All right.
As I need to use the restroom, we're also at about the 2.5 hour mark for this session. If you're watching, please follow. See more interesting content like this. We're going to be back in about 10 minutes or so. So about 8:42, give or take. Think about what you guys are going to do. I know a lot of the story has been happening around you guys at this moment. But think about things that you can do, or choices you can make, or, you know, just initiatives you can make on your own. Anyway, we'll be back. Alright, we're back live after some internet problems, eh? It's okay, we just took a 15-minute break instead of a 10-minute break.
Anything in the name of frames.
But let's quick do an audio check, someone for me, please.
I definitely just heard myself.
Cameron's good.
Testing.
Dale's good.
1, 2, 3.
Alex is good. Devin's good. And I can hear myself.
Okay. So, Sebastian is called into Lilia's room as we switch back to Anastasia.
You can only dodge him for so long, but
You know, dear, Alex has already dealt with enough anxiety. I don't think he needs any more.
man, I thought you were a block build.
I just making sure everyone gets their time this session. When I have 2 different groups, I just like leaving little cliffhangers. Anyway, so Anastasia, you're out in the garden examining your ring for quite a while. It becomes night, and you look over. It's a strange feeling of nostalgia washes over you. You've been traveling around with mortals for quite a while now at this point. And even though it's been like a year, which isn't a lot of time at all, it is strange to look out over the nighttime Rosencratz and just remember that this used to be your day-to-day. You barely saw the sunlight, you know, just for a little part of your morning and evening. But now there's a strange division, because the way the mortals are, you've had to be in the sun all the time, and while it was uncomfortable for extended periods of time, you know, you saw their rhythm and you saw how they were, but for you all, it's very opposed. Different spectrum, and you're starting to really realize more and more just how different Vitella are from mortals. That this nighttime look, you know, is different to them. How these silly little mortals go fumbling through the night, and it seems so childish and so they seem so inept, but you've seen the great things that they've done, and the ones you traveled with personally, you know, are proof that mortals are capable of so much despite their downfalls. It's just strange getting back into the rhythm of things where you are awake at nights now all the time.
He has a moment where, upon realizing this, he thinks back to what Radovan was trying to do and how Radovan explained things to him. And he feels slightly torn, leaning more in Radovan's favor, but seeing as how so many people, so many Vitella are not going to just come out in the open and just show their face. They're too used to a life of secrecy. But he's seen that humans and Vitella can get along. He also knows that there's dangers with that. He's not sure if maybe something can be done to ensure that there's an extra level of protection. Sure, the crow's magical barrier is good and all, But having the people really on your side to defend you if someone comes knocking to try and stab you is another thing. Just sighs, puts the ring back in his pocket. Glances in the direction of the Rosencratz house.
Not far from your own. It's a small manor. Slightly bigger than yours, but not by a lot. Quiet as it's always been.
Takes a deep breath. Mutters to himself, "Hope you know what you're doing, Radaman." And he heads back inside to proceed as his normal family life. If it looks too out of the ordinary, people will get concerned.
Okay. You do have a good amount of freedom at this time. No one is really expecting much of you at the moment.
Ceci eventually does go back and go into his room, and he does examine his gear, his broken brigantine armor from where the Kongsbjorn had made a sizable dent in it. Just never got repaired. Because the Goldarians don't know how to repair brigantine armor. At least I assume they didn't.
I mean, you can assume all you want, I suppose.
He never asked. Didn't care. It's about the time studying would take place. Might as well grab the breaker blade, and he's gonna head out to the training area and just throw it around a little bit, see if he can experiment with some of his movement.
Okay.
Not asking his uncles for training, just working on his own.
Yeah, but at this point, Decabal probably has gone out to work at this point.
So he will grab the breaker blade and his armor and just go out to the training yard and just practice moving it around. Trying to avoid Lauren at all costs.
Laughs an eldest sibling.
So, you begin swinging the breaker blade around. Utilizing the chain, you know you can make massive sweeps with the weapon.
The more he practices with it, the more he's like, maybe if I just add this a bit more of a turn. And it ends up becoming almost like a pirouette as he swings the blade around. By the time he's eventually done swinging it around for the day and feels like he's practiced enough, his moves have taken almost like a dance-like fluidity to him. As he feels like he is comfortable with this slight change in his fighting style.
You begin to evolve your style more, drifting further away from the way that the Serbans normally fight and adapting something to this new weapon, this new armor you've been using. Just now taking the time to actually sit down and think it through. Before, everything just felt like you were using it as the Serban would. The shadow is the first kind of deviation, learning how to utilize that. And now that you're thinking on your weapon and how you move your body and everything, your style has begun to change somewhat. Just as you're getting done and you're relaxing.
Yep.
Stream's Andy.
Yeah,
Discord was too.
might just be your internet.
Our internet, I think, is having some issues.
Maybe.
Seems okay now, minus the delay.
There's always a delay.
Yeah. It's just longer than usual.
But with that, you hear a chuckle not too far off, as on a nearby like stone wall you see Laurenti just kind of laying down, dangling a leg off.
Him and his Cheshire Cat grin.
I came by to see how my younger brother was doing with his training, and what do I see? He kind of spins on his butt a bit and sits now on the wall. Blasphemous training with a weapon that doesn't belong to House Urban.
Had to adapt on the road. At the time, the situation demanded something a bit more than what the Gross Messier offered.
And don't let Father hear you say that. He pushes himself off the wall and lands lightly.
He just slams stabs a breaker blade into the ground and leans on it.
The Gros Messier has been passed down through the family line for generations, seen as a weapon to most fit our elegant style of use of power and swiftness. He says in a mocking tone of your father's. We train in this way because it is the best for our family, and because no other weapon can compare.
Careful, you're starting to sound like him.
When did you get a sense of humor?
Always had it. Just didn't want you to get a fat head.
It's too late. My ego is as big as it can get.
I'm surprised you can fit in the doorway.
Me too. You've
Well,
changed on us. You're more open now.
I've had some experiences that have forced me to be more open, and it's become easier.
Oh, well, I remember you spending so much time worrying about Trey that you never focused on yourself.
I think having some time away from that also helped.
In only a year, too. My, do you work fast. Though I guess traveling around with mortals can do that to you. Especially some big hairy mountain men.
Yes. My introduction to them was not on even ground. But they've been interesting to travel with. One of them had a particular fondness of dragging me out of my bed as soon as the sun was up. Saying something about how I shouldn't be sleeping all day.
Maybe they just wanted to be your friend.
At the time, I didn't think so. No, I'd say yeah.
Well, mortals are always like that, I suppose. They're always prone to forming tight groups with each other, and then arguing whose group is better.
I don't know about that. My group will just beat the shit out of stuff.
Oh, well. Fortunately, we've kept our mortals kind of, less aggressive.
Well, for two of them, that's the way up north. You either get trained, be aggressive, and survive, or you die to the monsters from the mountain. It's survive and get strong, or be killed.
So, ever since I met your friends the other day, I've been really curious about something. Well, did a little bit of snooping around town, talking to some of the mortals and about the good Lord Radovan. How could you have let him get away with, well, a group of strange-looking individuals and not notice?
Does he still have that knowing smirk?
Oh, yeah.
There's... Pause as he looks at the ground. Sounds like you have your answer. Why'd you need to hear it from me?
Nas, you take yourself way too seriously, young brother.
When facing the head of the house, of course I am.
But you're always ready to beat yourself up before I even get the chance to. You take all the fun out of it.
Because you had more fun beating up me and Trey at the same time in sparring sessions.
Well, yeah, but that's just me asserting my dominance.
Oh, you just enjoy beating us to a pulp. Sadist.
Well, I was always just wanting to see how far along you guys come. We always got distracted looking at Trey, so I never could see what you were fully capable of. All those times that you would downplay yourself or try not as hard so that Trey could shine better.
Not too much different from what you tried to do for us.
Really? Oh no, I'm so amazing that I could overshadow anyone.
True, but you didn't shine all the time. There were days you tried to make us look good. You just thought Uncle Decabald didn't notice.
What is one to do? I guess it's equivalent to dimming the sun. Even during an eclipse, you could still see a bit of it.
If I finally admitted to the truth you already know, what would you do with it? Go straight to father and mother?
Why? I'm the head of the house. And smirks.
Doesn't mean you can't go to them for certain information they should know about their son.
Oh, Anas is being such a heretic. He's going around wielding weird weapons and dressing in an unstately manner, shaming House Serban. Woe is me.
Careful, mother might assume I was wearing a dress. She might faint.
I think you'd look good in a dress.
Hell, I would.
Radovan, wherever he is, for example.
Do not give Radovan ideas. Fine. I let him get away with it because I wasn't here. Better.
No. Why'd you leave?
He pulls the breaker blade out of the ground and goes to sit on a nearby bench. because at the time it was the only way I saw out. I got stuck in a loop that was causing me to become more and more depressed. Trying to help Trey, failing that, seeing his hatred for me grow, seeing the impossible goal, pointing to Lauren, that dear uncle and father have given. Watching Mother watch all of this, become frustrated. Knowing I had nowhere to go. There was no way to make my mark on the family. There was nothing. It was just me, pretty much becoming Uncle Decabald and Harlow. Just there. I saw no chance to grow. To become stronger, better, find my own unique way. And at the time, waking up, I saw it as my chance to leave. I hated the fact that I had to leave, but I knew if everyone was awake, I wouldn't have been able to.
So why'd you come back?
Just points at the house. Take a guess.
At Rosenkratz's house? Or your house?
At our house. At Mother's house.
Oh.
Mother had Amadeus Crow contact me and tell me to come home. Radavan happened to be coming home at the same time that I was. And we just happened to travel into the city together.
Well, you're lucky, if I'll give you that. Still, you could have ignored Mother's plea.
I could have. Still slightly scared of her. I don't think that fear is going to go away ever. Though the look she gave me and Father when I came into that house. Shivers.
So what do you want? I mean, you left to get stronger, but I heard you got your butt kicked by a mortal.
Oh. Let me guess who told you that.
The hairy one.
Why am I not fucking surprised?
I heard you took it pretty hard, too. Or at least I guessed.
She being beaten by a mortal female was interesting. Apparently, the fighting style I've been trained with did not do me too well, nor did I choose to focus on the battle as much as I probably should have, had my ass handed to me for some failures. Yes, I'm still a little ticked off about that.
Oof, jeez, and then I was touching the stove there. It blows on his fingers.
So, what else did he tell you?
You were strong. Good fighter. There's an imprint of your body somewhere in a bear cave. I have to say, that gave me a pretty good chuckle.
Of course she would. Just like has his head in hands.
But still, it sounds like you had a lot of fun.
It's been an interesting learning experience.
Oh, Anas. Lighten up and just say you had fun traveling around with a bunch of mortals. The way you were just fighting now tells me it all. Graceful, brutal, swinging that weapon around. Adjusting and adapting that drive to get better. I've never seen you do anything as passionately in your life. Had to be some reason for that.
Because I actually did want to improve. I was just too scared about shining Trey, so I held myself back from ever doing it. That's why I was so miserable.
You worry so much about what everyone else thinks about you. Especially ignoring the fact that half of the people who talk about you seem to speak glowingly. I wouldn't know why, you're just a little punk.
Says the brother with a huge ego enough to pretty much fill this entire city walls.
Oh yeah, in fact, I went into town just today, and a lot of mortals came up to me and were very interested to hear anything I had to say. Apparently, they've seen me around town a few times when we started waking up. And I have what you call a fan club now.
What's a fan club? I don't think I've heard that one.
I don't know what a fan is, but a club apparently is a group of individuals with the same passion.
Got a bunch of wannabe Laurens running around town?
I mean, they're mostly women, but still.
Oh. That's not a fan club, that's admirers. You have gained yourself a following of human women. Congratulations.
There were some men there too.
Congratulations on that too. You've gained human attention. You can thank Radovan. If it hadn't been for Radovan working with the humans, they wouldn't be as open with us.
It's true. It's true.
Still trying to figure out that whole Crimson tax thing, though.
Yes, it's actually kind of scary. I've been offered it many times, and I still don't know what it is.
The way I think Radovan explained it to me was it's a reduction on their taxes if they let us feed off of them. I think that's what he meant.
No, that can't be right.
I don't know. It was city official stuff. Kind of went over my head, unfortunately.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to brag there for a second, but also I wanted to say mortals are alright. Interacting with them is very good for us, I think.
Can I do an insight check to see if he's being genuine?
Sure.
Florentine? Lie?
You never know.
How unbecoming of a head of house. Scandalous, you would even imply.
I had to finally test out Alex's dice and see if they're gonna jinx me or not.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they are.
Fuck.
That's a 24 insight.
Here's the problem. You should have sent me dice with the dice bag you sent me, and I wouldn't have cursed all of you for the next 100 years.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's just playing the overly confident, slightly egotistical older brother you've always known him to be. And you never quite know exactly what he's thinking, because you've never seen him be vulnerable for a moment.
I'd agree. Humans are interesting. If anything, their form of training is very different from Uncle.
I didn't know humans even trained. I mean, the way I fought those individuals before, they just... I mean, some of them looked like they actually knew what they were doing with the weapon, but one of them just turned into a beast.
That's his fighting style. He learns from animals and uses it to his advantage.
I think style is putting a stretch on it.
Try traveling with him. You might understand.
Oh, I would, but being the head of the household makes it really hard to get away.
Oh, really? I'd like to see Father try to stop you.
No one could stop me if I wanted to.
Technically, I think you're scarier than whatever's in that forest.
I'll take that as a compliment.
That is. The only one that beats you in scariness in this house is Mother.
That's fair.
I think what I wanted to do was just try to create my own story. Something to at least have before living my full potential here. That was what I really wanted. And funny enough, that one story I never told at dinner made me realize that.
I don't know what story you're referring to.
He goes in to describe the prison of Noah, including his trial. And at the end of it, pulls out what he got from it. He just displays it in his palm.
Lauren Teeve looks genuinely shocked. It's a face you've never seen on him before. He nods. He says, well, I mean, even if Dream Me kicked your ass, then, you know, I guess I am pretty awesome. Though that ring.
That was a concern of mine. I wasn't sure if it actually came from where he handed it to me, or what this means.
You know, if
I
anyone
just-
catches you with that, you'll be in some serious trouble in us.
I'm well aware. So I haven't worn it, and he just tucks it back in his pocket. I don't plan to use it unless I absolutely have to. And it's not going to be for power. It's going to be what the ring allows me to do. Which is to be more of a knight. And I've learned a bit more of that on the road. Protecting others. Actually fulfilling the role of a proper knight. Not just a honorary guard patrolling the city.
Man, sounds like someone very smart told you about that.
Dream you that was an impression by a god. Don't get too big of a head.
I don't know. The god seems to think I'm very smart.
Or maybe he was just using you as a channel. The only thing that was slightly confusing to me is the tomb. I never saw it, so I wasn't sure if that was real or not. Or if that was just their interpretation.
Well, it's real. I hate to do this to you and us, but I think you should give me that ring.
Just out of curiosity, why? Just for protection?
You see a side of him that you've never seen before. He seems uncomfortable and not as composed as usual. I am still ahead of House Serban. And to hand our heirloom off like that, I don't know what Dreamy was thinking, but that's very serious. I think it'd be best if you let me hold on to it until I think about it some more.
He hands the ring over. But as he does, he's like, If you're concerned about who claims head of the house, I had no desire for it. I had more concern for the fact that that was handed to me. That role was yours alone. It's never meant to be mine.
He looks at the ring for a moment and closes his hand and just kind of smiles lightly. Nah. You couldn't replace me. He puts it in his pocket. I'm too awesome. And he looks at you. I just... I have to think about some things. Anyway, don't let any of our uncles see you swinging that sword or whatever around. Looks more like a fork to me.
It's got some good weight to it. Offers for him to hold it.
Nah, you can keep it. I dare not touch it, otherwise you'll compare yourself to how I elegantly hold it.
I'm curious to see what you think of the weight. One human I handed it to, he pretty much dropped on the ground. I already know whatever you hold, you could best me at. I'm curious of your opinion of it.
Alright, he holds out his hand.
Just hands him the blade.
You let go and it does like shift and he has to like readjust his grip a bit.
Doing okay there?
Yeah. This is just a hunk of iron.
True, but when you hit someone with it, it sends them flying quite a few feet.
Well, I mean, the set could be same if he used a boulder on the end of a rod. My god, whoever invented this just didn't want to think.
I'm curious about who made it. The bear that put me into the wall. That was stuck in its hide. And not many humans I've come across can fully wield that properly.
Yeah, no, maybe a giant. He sets the sword down. Just, don't show that to anyone in the family. They will, disown you on the spot.
I'm well aware. I didn't come back to the city forgetting everything I knew growing up. If anything, it's a trophy from a fight. I still have the gross misdier, still have the armor. The armor does need to be repaired though. That bear took a nice chunk out of it.
He turns to you. You need to work on that in us. You keep saying or adjusting to the person you're talking to. Oh, I won't use this big-ass sword that can knock people through trees. I'll go back to using the old family weapon that I wanted to get away from earlier.
I never said I was going back to using the weapon. I just agreed to not show it.
Well,
Don't go twisting my own words against me.
He just shrugs. I guess you deserve some praise. I don't think I could wield such a brutal weapon like that as well as you could. I don't know if that's a compliment or the barbarians just rubbed off on you.
Routine.
And if they have, I recommend taking a shower.
Hey. Hygiene is
That was
very
like-
important.
Fenwa sneezes somewhere in the forest.
No, he doesn't have the energy. His nose just tickles when he's just passed out. Fucking zero presence.
They may have rubbed off on me. I don't regret traveling with them, though. I've learned a lot. The hard part with coming back... One, there was an agreement I made that I do have to honor. And he mentions the prison knowing he says once a year I'm to go back and assist them to try and get to the next floor.
We're not doing that if you join us as Heartless.
which is why I have some concerns. I don't feel like I'm ready for that. But I accepted knowing that if I said no, there would be more questions.
Sounds like you have some things to figure out.
Several things to figure out.
Yes, is some things. Well, just think about what you want. Focus on yourself for once. He leans in, whispers something in your ear. And leans up. See you later, Nas. I have some important head of house things to do as he struts off.
Like sleeping? It looks like you never sleep.
Sleep is for the weak.
Arthur.
Hey, Lauren. Thank you.
And just smiles and keeps off.
Well, Cersei eventually goes back into the room. I would assume the window's open.
No. Unless you opened it prior, I suppose.
Okay, but they're not just not solid glass. They do open.
No, they typically just are solid glass windows.
Okay. He eventually just brings the weapon inside, trying to avoid anyone. He just puts it away.
Now we head back to Sebastian.
Fuck.
You walk into the room, and you see that Lilia's room is surprisingly pink. I mean, as pink as it can be. The bed is normal. The sheets are like a deep green, but there's a lot of gold trimming in places. There's a very nice vanity. One of the walls is like just painted pink. There's a lot of small pink frilly like dolls sitting about. And there is this nice kind of table that looks like it's been hand painted. And you can see it's been hand painted quite a lot. It's like the table's not smooth. It's got a little roughness to it from the paint that was used on it, which it has very beautiful designs of like plant life and flowers. And Lilia is there, deadpan staring at the table in front of her, which has like a tea set on it. Not looking at you. Not moving in general. Drilla kind of has you come in, and she shuts the door behind you. And she says, I need you to give me your opinion on this. She motions over to a canvas towards the back of the room that's like 3/4 painted. It's very wonderfully designed. It's, again, got a very similar flower motif. Very well done painting. With just like the bottom part of it not fully done yet.
Oof, Sebastian has to critique art. The thing he finds pointless. Sebastian just quickly is going to make a quick side glance to Lilia and try to see, like, what are her opinions about this painting?
I'm rolling her composure. Oh no.
Fucking hate art, you useless piece of shit. You might as well use it as kindling for the fire.
Suzanne, would you like to come and look at what I rolled for Lilia here?
Well, now I'm curious.
Oh god.
And that's how Sebastian died, making a little vampire cry.
So, what'd you get on your insight?
154.
Cool. She botched. I rolled a
Yep.
1.
Oh.
She didn't have a high composure at all. Oh god, the dice. Oh. They're playing in the favor of the story or against, I don't know. So you give her a side glance. She looks panicked. Her eyes have gotten huge. She seems incredibly nervous. She's very embarrassed. And there's a level of fear there. So much so that she's absolutely not moving her eyes, so you can see a strong desire to do so. As she's becoming more and more uptight in her chair. God, poor Lily. Unfortunately, for someone who lacks a lot of empathy, as Sebastian does, you just know her general feelings. You don't know why she's feeling them, though.
Yep. Shit. That moment, like, quickly planning is like, I don't know why. I was just gonna see if I can mirror her emotions. Could you describe the portrait once more?
It's just, it's a really well done, like, bunch of flowers and, like, a very tall grass kind of field.
This is tough. He looks it over, just kind of examining it. It is painted very well.
Jill is the same there, looking at you, studying you very intently.
And
Doc didn't teach me how to critique art. The one person with art skill besides what? Been with? That's it? Supper, Alex.
this is so difficult. Oh my god.
Endgame wasn't a dungeon. The endgame was social interaction.
Critiquing a fucking painting.
How many lifelines does Alex get?
Can he phone a friend?
A big issue with it
He
is
pulls
that
out the earring. He's like, Doc, quick. What do I say, Big?
critique it easier if I was looking at it. I can't imagine shit, my man.
Actually, is it you or Sarita who has the earring?
Anastasia handed it to Sebastian because Sebastian knew it was a way he could contact Anastasia.
Do you have the other one?
Yeah, he does. He always keeps it
Okay.
on him.
Okay.
He just doesn't let anyone else know he has a stray earring in his pocket. They might think other things.
Anastasia, how do I critique Fatilla art?
Of course, Anastasia's the last person you should ask for that.
He just runs to his mother. Quick, what are some vague positive things to say about a painting of, what was it? Flowers. Don't ask questions. What kind of flowers?
The hardest part of this is because I can critique art. That's what I fucking do for like every day. It's that I have to channel it through the mind of someone who inherently views it as a pointless endeavor that does nothing
Well,
for you.
He's also logical and can tell that there's like a lot of emotional stuff like hanging on it.
True.
So even if he doesn't understand like a lot of the deeper meanings and value to art, he can look at something and be like, you have realistically created flowers on a canvas. And then why is it realistic looking? There is good shading. It makes it look real. Awkwardly stumbles through. The colors match the flower, I think.
Just use this as a stand-in painting. It's loading now. Ignore the watermarks. Imagine the last quarter of it at the bottom is not done.
Alright.
Oh no. It's more abstractly done. Well, you're on your own, bud. Robot it up.
I believe that the coloration is quite nice, and it's very clear that whoever painted this put a lot of effort into it. I apologize, however, I do not have an eye for art, so I'm not able to critique it as well as I wish I could.
Drea seems to get visibly annoyed as she says, "So, do you think it looks good?"
I do.
You watch as Lilia almost levitates in her seat for a second. There's just this moment where she just like gets even more uptight and it just causes her to lift up for a brief moment. Okay. That is all. You can go back outside to what you were doing.
He bows and goes back.
A mysterious encounter.
Yep.
Doctor, I have questions.
I looked at art. I said it looked nice, and it's clear that that was the wrong answer. What happened?
Did they hate the person that painted it?
Why would they put up a painting if they didn't like it? What does this mean,
To
John?
insult it.
Jacques, as you're working, you feel like you're being watched.
There are eyes and ears everywhere. He does his tasks. As irritated as he is with the reality of the situation, as much as his pride is wounded by doing it, his pride won't let him half-ass a job. So he already, having been around nobles, being watched, being listened to, it's already kind of part of the game, eyeing one another. Now he's just at a lower rung. And there's only so much he can do to pretend or play along and try not to be like interesting enough to mess with. So he just forces himself to focus on his work. He'll be called if they want.
Okay. So as you focus on your work, you feel as someone approaches you.
He pauses in his work, turns.
You turn to see Tristaval coming up to you. Though you can see behind him on like the stairwell, Rune is heading downstairs, not looking in your guys' direction. But Tristaval comes up to you. He's a very serious looking Vitella, as mentioned before. And the one who kind of intervened when Salem tried to harass Serena on her way in. He stops and he looks at you. And he seems to be looking you up and down without saying anything.
Maybe even an assistance model.
He takes a few more moments. Have you ever killed anyone before?
Jesus Christ.
The worst part is the only one I can think of is the one that was sacrificed on the table.
Yeah, that he hasn't killed a single other person. Like, it's all been wolves or zombies.
No, you did murder the guy at the outhouse. Because you had to stab the guard.
That's true.
He will kind of like look him over and like the like solid second of like take back at the question.
If you want, you can roll a search or insight to guess his intent.
Yeah, like Jesus Christ, who opens with that? Oh, that's bad. That's a botch. Fuck, Doc.
What's the failure level?
It's a 3.
So roll again and subtract 15 from what you get.
$34.
Alright. Unfortunately, he catches you very off guard. You try to look him over a bit, but you feel pressured to make an answer. If you try to lie on your next check, you get a -20.
As taken off guard as he is, there's just a... Yes.
He looks you over, and you start to get a building sense that you're in immediate danger.
He kind of drops his gaze off to the side. There were an imminent risk to someone.
You are looking away from him, but you feel him get close to you. His mouth mere inches from your ear as he leans in. There is the scent of familiar blood on you. He leans away. Come to my chamber.
Of course, my lord. He does kind of like catch a glance around to see if Rune was still like lingering.
No, Raven wasn't there.
Just passed on by.
He. But, he escorts you up to his room. And that's where we're going to end it for the session today.
Doc's not gonna like. It normally doesn't matter if he says the truth because it's normally just his actual mean opinion about things.
Interesting stuff has happened so far. I'm can't wait for the next session.
Also, your Vitala don't have to like creepily whisper in people's ears. You know that, right?
I know.
They can just say things.
I know.
And us. Tell everybody to like stop creeping.
Yeah, like he's gonna walk into the Amorous family and tell them that. I'm sure that would be great as Sturbon walking into the house.
And nobody even looks at the crow house.
What house? There is no house.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun session next Wednesday. I can already feel it.
Oh, God. Listen, all it was gonna take is like one person to accidentally touch anybody who can sense ki, anyone who can see psychic matrices, and it was all gonna go downhill. But it's fine. It has horrible, elaborate plans.
We'll just have to see. So, let's go ahead and do some experience, because I know we all want to talk about the session. General interpretation for the session, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a solid 10. I feel like you guys were not quite on the up to speed on this one. I think it was a lot of getting back into it. Very slow start. But there was some interesting character moments, and for putting you guys through all of that, I think you deserve 10. 3 experience points for being here today. No difficult actions, no good ideas or plans. No segment closure, but I will also give you guys 15 experience points just as a keep up with the Sunday game, and also, honestly, I've never seen you guys struggle with a session more than this session, so there was some difficulty that you guys had to overcome.
It's just a new situation and it's all social, so it's like until you get into the role, like role playing, it's like, how do we start? I elaborately described me cleaning a bookshelf. So
that was 15 XP, right?
15, yes.
Are you pleased with yourself?
It also doesn't help that I caused at least a week gap to happen. It's on me. So
You're just
You
racking up
concerned
the
for Ripley.
points.
I'm just saying that made it harder. I was in that moment of like, oof, it's been a while.
You didn't listen to enough Sebastian music.
I was trying.
Kind of hard to focus when you suddenly open Pinterest and the cow is waiting for you on the front page.
Yeah, it's waiting for me
You
now.
know
I
what?
know I
We'll
have to
blame it on the
expect-
cow. The cow threw him off, and it threw off all of us.
I-
And
now
Devin's face isn't here, so I'm missing my twinsy. The
I'm
dynamic
beset-
duo has been destroyed.
Set on all sides by possible cow images. Like I gotta like make sure I like dodge and weave as I'm like browsing through Twitter now.
I think it was just an off day.
Yeah.
For sure.
They can't all be winners.
That's fair.
They can't all be sobbing over a funeral for 3 hours
Yeah.
on a cliffside with dramatic imagery of a storm blowing in.
Serena gets the face award because Serena made the only attempt at facing this session.
Fair.
I'll give the utility award to Sebastian though, because I like your tactical cleaning role, and also your use of insight was very handy.
It's just awful. Doc's the person who should have the most experience with social stuff, but I've built him to be the worst at it.
Speaking of, Doc definitely earns the pity award. As, oh,
insulted.
hey, everyone automatically hates me, and I'm everyone's least favorite. Great.
Good. Don't look at me. You do not perceive him. But also, that's also insulting. You should approve of his wonderful work and how educated he is. He's so much better than these plebs. Who the fuck is Trent? Who does he think he is? His shoes are tied crooked.
Beyond that, any player nominations and or kudos?
Man, the struggle Anastasia is going through of like, I just want to do my own thing, immediately kowtows to somebody again, and just back and forth is some really harsh growing pains as he's finally gonna he's just gonna have to double down. Can't play both sides anymore.
True.
He's learning that.
Okay.
It's not
Yeah.
going to be easy. He's not going to learn that day one, though.
No, he's not. Which is why, like, the kudos are you having to roleplay that struggle where he's still trying to avoid it, but you can't because it's roleplay, so you have to give in, and then you have to deal with him trying to break a mold, but also still, like, reined in by, you know, family expectations. So I'm very excited to see how Anastasia, like, walks out of Rosencratz.
I wholeheartedly agree. Go and take a player award. It's very well earned this session.
Also, you admitted Fenwith was your friend, and defended him a little. Just a little.
He's getting there. He's slowly admitting things.
I also appreciate the literal gymnastics of trying to avoid your brother at all costs.
Oh, yeah. Didn't realize you were a dodge tank on the side. And did you finally buy off your disadvantage?
For the weapon?
Mhm.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Oh no, as soon as I got that point, that was the first thing that went.
Well, that's what I was
Fair.
saying. It's like the role playing, getting used to the sword and stuff, and finally just
Yeah.
came to, like,
It was more just him changing up his fighting technique.
Mhm.
Because the concept was, I'm like, I've got points in dance, why don't I use it?
Doc just looking at the other party like, I could have had everything, and instead I got these, like, woodsy savages, and so did they.
Also, appreciate just Sebastian's boss fight of
Yeah.
like
Versus the painting.
the fact that he doesn't realize a big piece of the puzzle of the entire thing was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's an interesting look at a character who has really good insight but absolutely no empathy. So you can read people, but you don't know what it means sometimes. You can guess logically. If someone is being very dodgy, avoiding the answer and everything, it means they have something to hide, which means they're either lying or, talking in circles. But when she's just sitting there staring at a table, desperately trying to contain herself, and you're just like, I sense fear and anxiety. What does this mean?
I have shown that I am not a threat to her. Have I misstepped? Is the
Also,
other Vitala a threat to her?
Anastasia, take an additional 25 experience points because your experience penalty is not 3 points, it's 2 points.
Okay.
So this is session 25 for Anastasia. So you get 25 whole experience points
Okay.
to fix the clerical error.
Ah, the pain of level modifiers.
Yeah, they suck. I was playing my first character with level modifier and then following up with another one with a worse modifier.
I'd also like to give a kudos to Jacques, particularly in the instance where he's just kind of watching Serena go be in the middle of the lion's den. And just
he's on edge that whole time. If it weren't for like the big entertainment of like, Jesus Christ, these guys are so fucking dysfunctional. It's almost funny if it wasn't so sad sitting there with the rest of us, and then just the whole situation though was like, Serena, you've been ordered to go get the potpourri. Take the out. Leave. Go. Run while you can. And then somebody else shows up and he's like, oh, thank God.
So Alex, go ahead and do the player award for the kudo, last kudo we had.
Kudos
Devin.
to Rena as well. That entire situation is not easy.
Yeah. I don't think
The kudos is for like, honestly, Cameron's comment is a kudo for you of like getting a +1 in your strength from carrying the fuck out of this team. Man, you're gonna have to do so much smooth talking while not getting eaten alive for it, as they all like just have a different limb and are drawn quartering a doll in the hallway.
What's the funniest thing is she realized what the situation was because she's interacted with Salem before. Salem is not a good person. And she's just like, okay, there's a way out, but if I just dip right now, that's a possible like bad situation that comes up. So that's why she asked if it was okay and then allowed them to devolve each other pretty much.
Worst part too is like, just because Salem's bad doesn't mean the others aren't either. Like, Erasmus, we know, for example, despite how smooth-talking he is actually a huge fucking risk because he's very reckless with people.
Hell,
I don't
Erasmus
trust none of
coming
these
out and
bitches.
hell, Erasmus coming out and just stirring the pot more.
That entire sequence was a really good, like, this is what y'all gotta deal with. Like, a great, like, just introduction to it.
Doc doesn't have enough venom daggers for this. If Tristobal doesn't try to take his head off.
It was a fun moment in general.
I feel like there's going to be a reoccurring theme.
Any other nominations and or kudos?
Oof, I'm getting the ring taken away.
Yeah, in the end, Anas feels like it was a smart choice. He's not going to walk off with a potential copy of the family heirloom. It's better let his brother mull it over.
I would have kicked him in the shins and been like, fight me for it, fucker. Take it if you want it. I earned this shit.
Hold it over his head.
Lauren's taller than him.
His shadow just reaches up. Lauren just punches him in the stomach.
He knows better than to fight his brother. He's fought
But
better
it
way too many
doesn't-
times growing up. Oh, he'll let Finn kick the shit out of him, but Anastasia's not doing it.
No, come on,
He's
we
already
can
had
tag
his
team him. No, we got this. Come on.
You gotta
I
get
hope
out
you
of the
beat up your big
forest
brother.
first. Get out of the forest first, then I'll let you have a few hits at him.
Alright, I'll come back with the first lord and be like, hey, Anastasia, look what I found. Drags oldest vampire in. Oh, shit, right, your family. Can I fight literally all of them?
Kudos to the GM. You played a lot of NPCs tonight.
Oh, Vitala Roulette's a fun one.
I think I've gotten all their voices wrong.
It's
Since
a
last session, I think I got like every character's voice differently.
I did I also loved the Lilia cameos before the reveal. Even though it was obvious, it was still like funny.
It's one of those
Tap,
fun
tap, tap,
moments
tap, tap.
where any other character I would have like engaged more, like, hey, what's up? But Sebastian is just, oh, she probably has business or something.
Just plays hard to get, but
Doesn't-
unintentionally.
He doesn't
Oh,
understand why you would do that.
I hope he asks Serena about it. I just hope.
Why would someone do this, Serena?
I can't wait because there's so much more to it than you guys even know. This whole part is so fun because there's so many fun things I can just curveball at you guys from any angle. Well, I think that's it for nominations. How'd you guys enjoy the session? I tried this time to keep a better balance between the groups and give each group enough time to think about what they want to do before swapping back.
I thought it was balanced well.
Yeah, it was a fun one. A lot of fun moments all around. Glad to be doing tabletop again after a break. So
Not gonna lie, I have a coworker that depends on my retellings of these stories at work to pass time, and I'm like, oh yeah, we haven't had any activity for a week. She's like, what? Who am I murdering?
Alex, the answer is literally always Alex.
Oh no, I got 2 people to watch out for now.
Yeah,
He's already
one's
kill list number 3.
One lives in Seattle, and she's willing to drive out to Ellensburg to throttle you.
No, that's close.
She's like, I live for story time. What has he done?
Just hold him at knife point.
Oh yeah, I'm done.
He won't be able to get out of the room.
The only saving grace is she is also a pet person, so she gave you a slight pass for the whole Ripley incident.
That's good.
How'd you guys like the Vitella I painstakingly played for y'all today?
Entertaining as always.
Delightful. Half of them deserve to be stabbed. Yeah. There you go.
There's no continuation of it.
I miss Radovan. I
Yeah.
hope he's okay. Acer, could you snort any fucking louder? Holy hell. His fur's stuck up in weird spots. It's like all squished.
How'd you like talking with Lauren Teeve again?
I think it did really well.
I
with his
loved it.
personality. Very interesting. I personally was entertained being the oldest sibling, knowing the kind of power that he's wielding, but playing the younger sibling and being absolutely terrified at the same time, knowing he knows everything.
Now, we just have to get back from the forest so that Finwith can give him even more ammunition to make fun of you with.
Obviously.
He will
obviously
exchange
got
it for friendship. I'll pay you in dirty secrets about your little brother.
No, we'll just offer to tag team Lauren and see if we can actually beat him.
Fuck yeah. Technically, we already beat him. High fives, Arthur. Whose arm immediately just pops off.
You better come back with that person, Arthur, or you're dead.
He won't spare you next time. He knows better.
True. True.
But which Vitella did you all like the most today? On my character roulette, I'm curious.
For me, it's a tie between Lauren and Lilia. I love Lilia's entire situation and personality and how she was portrayed, but I also love just the fact of dealing with the over pride stuffed older brother.
Of course, really like Lauren, but honestly, Salem is just so skeevy, it's entertaining. And the fact that he immediately got ganged up on by everybody else. Just whiny little bitch.
I think I'd have to go with Lilia and Aramis this time.
He did, I will say, like, kudos to Aramis for having, like, the moment of, like, him and Doc just... they cross the bridge of Human and Vitala in joined resignation and this ridiculous shit. Just for a moment.
I gotta, for my money, I gotta say Lauren Teeve was like my favorite the entire, because like I had a lot of just fun listening to him. And then I guess kudo to fucking Tristval, because I think the opening with the opener, have you ever murdered somebody, is so fucking funny to me.
What a goddamn power move!
For real.
That's so uncalled for.
I was like reviewing I was like checking my notes, writing some more stuff, and I just heard you ever murdered someone before, and I was be like...
What that actually reminded of me of was a story that Corpse was telling. He's like, yeah, I used to, in order to get over my anxiety, go out and like talk to a random person every day. And this particular day, I started asking interesting questions to change it up a bit. And so I walked up to a bank teller and I asked her what her biggest fear was. Because
Being robbed like you right now.
Interesting. I like how everyone almost picked something different, which is good. That means that the variety is there.
We all agree Lauren Teeve is deserving of his giant fucking ego. But we can also all appreciate the intense elder sibling energies bullying one of our fellow party members. But everybody else was like dotted around. Like all of them are interesting because they're just like they're all different enough that they play off one another, and like it's gonna be cool to see like the deeper dynamics in the family. But yeah, I also just love bastards.
Yeah, it's good because Lauren Teeve is like the example of here's an arrogant fellow who's just generally good natured. He knows he's the shit, and that's why he can take everything easy. Doesn't have to worry about like keeping face. Doesn't have to worry about showing anyone up, because he just shows people up by being him. It's great.
He should maybe a little worry about giving his brother depression.
Though you guys did get to see Lauren Teeve not be confident for like a solid few minutes. And I'm glad y'all like the spread. Liliana, it's her story is going to be great. I just know it. It's got some interesting ties in, and I'm curious to see how Sebastian takes every step along this journey.
Yeah.
That poor girl is the
no.
most unlucky vampire in that household. She gets the one emotionalist servant.
She personally picked me. She said,
True.
that's the one. He's perfect. That's what she said.
Yep.
And now she's gonna have to teach you to have like even fake empathy for people.
Yeah.
Serena in the background cheering her on, like, yeah, crack him open, that's the best part. And you get to the gooey center inside.
I also like how Salem has just made an impression of just like, ah, yes, this is the troublemaker of the house. My favorite
They're all
proposition-
troublemakers.
Yeah, but I mean, he's the one who like, he's the known troublemaker, while the other ones are just other troublemakers that join in. I enjoyed the sibling squabble. As it was one of those moments where I could see it very well in my head. All of them arguing over who gets Serena rights for the day.
Just standing in a fucking hallway. Serena in the middle, trying to pleasantly, like, yay, I don't like this situation, but I'm being nice. Doc standing there, perfectly statue still, at attention, just...
And I loved Erasmus just coming in and stirring shit up even more. He seemed like he was only there to cause problems.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you guys saw most of the house this session. There's only a few members you haven't met in person yet. You guys gotta see Brenadine.
I got to learn her hobby.
She doesn't like people's opinions.
Brenadine.
Thankfully, it was Tristobal who approached Doc and not Donovan, or he'd already be dead.
I don't know if you should say thankfully, because Tristobal is just like, I smell familiar blood on you.
Oh yeah, no, I'm still like, oh god. Familiar blood. I haven't actually murdered anybody, which means only one thing. So fuck.
So what do you think he's on about? I'm curious.
Well, I suppose technically there are options. I suppose it also depends on, like, how strong the senses of Vitala are. But generally the only, like, notable blood that's been around Doc, besides his, venomous, glaring bloodline, is, like, Radovan being around. But it's definitely not close enough that the scent would stick. That would imply Radovan's been way too close.
Okay. It's going to be interesting.
Or the fact that, like, well, just because he ordered the clothes doesn't mean that they smell like him, so I doubt it would be our spy.
I do enjoy how that. Have you ever murdered someone? And I just saw everyone just like, oh no. It was really funny to watch everyone's expression.
I had to actually sit there and think of, like, well, who has Doc killed?
Not a lot. He's not killed a lot of people. There's the backstory incident. There's the sacrifice to save Serena from having to do it, and then the guy in the outhouse to prevent him from raising the alarm.
There were also the Goldarians that attacked us.
Doc didn't end up killing last hit on any of them.
Oh, okay.
He shot them all to death.
That's fair. It's all the blood's on my hands, I guess.
Yeah, no, he fought them, but he didn't actually kill any of them.
Alright.
The only thing he's actually killed have been wolves and zombies.
We'll have to see.
No.
I love this arc so much, and there's been so many interesting characters. Though also, I'm really fucking tired because all the Vitella are just so extra. I can't just yada yada any of them away.
It's okay. It'll be a super chill Sunday session next go around where we still have a fucking succubus sitting around, just chilling out, having a good old one.
Yeah, Arthur's got to deal with that now. I can't wait to see that.
Otherwise, can I shoot her?
It's gonna be so much fun.
Didn't
Not only that, but you
guys
guys gotta try to survive the forest with less than half your presence.
Yeah.
Except for Arthur.
How long does it take presents to recover?
1 hour.
It's a slow tick up. A couple days.
Yeah.
As she literally was draining your very life essence away.
Yeah, no, I got that.
It's worse, I could have been sacrificed hit points and that'd be 5 per day.
Ew. Yeah, it's a lot quicker to gain my presence back than it is that much help.
Yeah, it's a small mercy. Also, like, you guys still gotta fucking survive, because even though Meridania was like the threat you guys encountered in this layer, it's not the only threat in this layer, and the next layer is going to be worse. I can't wait. But anyway, that's gonna be it for this stream. Thanks everyone for coming by to watch.
Gluttony.
If you guys have not already, please follow to see more amazing sessions like this. Also, I game most days anyway, so there's that, unless I need a rest day. And yeah, say goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye.